Greetings in the love and in the light of our infinite prime creator, the divine grid programmer. Namaste, namaskaram. It is my intention to introduce the Lady of the Flame, Sekhmet. Sekhmet is the warrior goddess of Upper Egypt, and under her protection led the pharaohs into battle. Having the appearance of a lion, she was well suited to the role. While Sekhmet was the warrior goddess of Upper Egypt, and while Sekhmet is a warrior goddess, is the warrior goddess, Bast was the warrior goddess of Lower Egypt. When the two were united, the status of Bast dropped. The goddess of the conqueror supplanted that of the conquered. Because of this, Sekhmet and Bast are sometimes interchanged, and aspects of either can be found in both. It was after Sekhmet took control that Bast was demoted to Bastet, the second female ending to her name being added, which may have implied a diminutive status, her image becoming that of a house cat. Meow, meow. Sekhmet, being a solar deity, wore the solar disk headdress, often depicted as a lioness or a human with the head of a lioness. Sekhmet was the avenger of wrong and known as the Scarlet Lady. Red being the color of blood, she was associated with bloodlust. She was either depicted wearing a blood red dress, sometimes with rosette patrons over each nipple, in reference to the shoulder knot pairs of lions, or she was naked, my preferred image. Tame lions were kept in her temples. The name Sekhmet, meaning the one who is powerful, is derived from the Egyptian word Sekhem, meaning power or might. She also carried the titles of the One, before whom evil trembles, and the Mistress of Dread, and the Lady of Slaughter. Sekhmet was the goddess who protected the pharaoh in battle, stalking his enemies and striking them down with arrows of fire. As she was also an early Egyptian sun deity, her body was said to have taken on the fearsome rays of the midday sun. This gave her the title of Lady of the Flame. Death and destruction were what soothed her warrior heart, and the hot desert winds were her breath. Now, the title Lady of the Flame, Sekhmet, and that's why I feel it's relevant to introduce this mighty warrior goddess to you, my dear and esteemed viewer, is because the flame, I believe, is relevant for Sekhmet's dual role. Not only was she this warrior goddess, but she was also the goddess of healing and getting rid of disease, but a healer. She was not only a capable warrior goddess, but also a healer. And oftentimes you find in the martial arts, the war arts, that healing and destroying are one and the same, two sides of the same coin. To dismantle a body, to cause damage to a body, and do it in an efficient and expedient manner, you would ideally want to be familiar with the body and how it's laid out, the anatomy, the weak points, the strike points. And by proxy, by being thus aware of those points, you are able to heal because of that knowledge, that intimate knowledge of the anatomy. So Sekhmet, Lady of the Flame. Additionally, I'm fascinated by the mere possibility, potential, that there's somehow a relationship between Sekhmet and Lucifer. Lucifer simply means light bringer. In the Latin component parts, lux afer, it means light, bringer of light. And as I have revealed in earlier videos, Jesus, the Christ, is Lucifer. So I believe there's some sort of a connection, and I'm going to, you have my word, my dear esteemed viewer, I'm going to diligently in the days ahead be investigating this remote possibility that there is a connection with Sekhmet as a Lucifer, as a light bringer. Obviously, she's known as Lady of the Flame, so there is a connection there right on the surface, right on the nominal surface and the naming of this deity. So stay tuned for those in the days ahead. But Sekhmet, the flame, and part of this introduction of Sekhmet is understanding the power of visualization. Okay, because I'm telling you, if you have anything that kind of going on with your genetic vehicle, like you got a little cough or something, or you feel under the weather, two things I can immediately recommend: get out in nature and walk barefoot. Walk barefoot, get your feet dirty all through nature. You know, be mindful of bottle caps and shards of glass. But you got to be awake, got to be aware, got to be cognizant, you got to be intimate with your environment, but also intimate with your anatomy and what's going on with your genetic vehicle. And visualization is key to affecting change in anything, and bringing the inanimate intention of your thoughts and energy from your heart, and manifesting in reality. The connection between the two is visualization. And as such, Sekhmet, as Lady of the Flame, it is incredibly, what's the word, beneficial to be able to get an image of this warrior goddess of Egypt and the healing properties and qualities of her flame. And as you visualize that, you have my word, it will eat away any disease in your genetic vehicle, anything that might be ailing you. But this is the key is visualization. And in order to soothe the wrath of Sekhmet, her priestesses were required to perform rituals in front of a different statue of the goddess each day. And you can bet in this temple, these priestesses were visualizing. And really, visualization is just the turning of the doorknob to the whole process, because immediately that visualization energy that you're bringing into the quantum, well, the actual energy of the goddess connects, and then it's a whole, then suddenly everything takes on a whole new meaning. So in order to soothe her wrath, the goddess Sekhmet we're speaking of, her priestesses were required to perform rituals in front of a different statue of the goddess each day. One temple had over 700 statues of her. It was believed that in order to safeguard the statues from theft or damage, they were coated with anthrax. This may have been in part to mimic Sekhmet's ability to bring forth sickness and cures. In the Middle Kingdom, her name was synonymous with physicians, surgeons, and healers. Her priestesses were known as healers. To appease her bloodlust, celebrations in her honor were held at the end of each battle to let the destruction end. At the beginning of each year, the Egyptians held a celebration in her honor. During the celebration, they danced and sang and richly drank beer to pacify the wildness of the goddess. The drinking of beer was to imitate the extreme drunkenness that had stopped the goddess from destroying mankind. This may relate to the averting of excess floodwater during the inundation of the Nile each year, when it ran red as blood due to the silt it carried. It was said that Sekhmet had to swallow the excess silt in order to save humankind. At the Temple of Mut, the deity who later took prominence over and absorbed the roles of Sekhmet, archaeologists uncovered illustrations of priestesses drinking to excess and being cared for by temple attendants. The illustrations also showed that the population at large attended the celebrations, and drunken revelry was a common theme of the celebration. They even uncovered a porch of drunkenness added on by Queen Hatshepsut. It must be noted that beer was very important to the ancient Egyptians. Beer in those days was safer to drink than water. Both the boiling of the water used to brew beer, and the alcohol created in the fermentation process killed off the bacteria in the water that caused disease. Beer was used as currency. It is said that the builders of the pyramids were paid in beer. It's also known that women did the brewing of the beer. With this association with beer, it is possible that one of the sacred duties of the priestess of Sekhmet was to brew beer. One myth explains how Ra, the sun god of Upper Egypt at the time, created Sekhmet from a fiery eye that he had gained from his mother in order to destroy mortals who conspired against him. Lower Egypt. Sekhmet's bloodlust was so wild that she didn't stop killing at the end of battle and almost destroyed humanity. In order to stop her, Ra turned the Nile the color of blood with 7,000 jugs of beer mixed with pomegranate juice to turn it red. And Sekhmet began to drink it. She became so drunk that she could no longer fight, and she put aside the battle and slept for 3 days. When she woke up, her bloodlust had left and humanity was saved. Ladies and gentlemen, my dear esteemed viewer, I want you to put your hands together for Sekhmet for getting drunk and saving humanity. Oh yeah, and hit that subscribe button.
Namaste, namaskaram.